Welcome to today's Inside the Cave. Our sponsor this week is Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, proud sponsor of the Missouri State Bears. And today's guest is Missouri State beach volleyball head coach Terri Del Conte. Terri, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, tell your story, if you would, of where you and your players were when you found out the news of the cancellation of the spring season.
Yeah, we were just on our way to our California tour and stop. It's one that the whole team looks forward to every year.
Were you actually en route then? You had left campus?
I had already left. The team was right behind me, and I got the call, and we had to stop everything. And it's during our spring break, so it's really a whole week that we get to go and play some of the best teams, and it's just a really great experience. So everybody was pretty bummed about it.
I know this is the third year for the program, and I mean, it is what it is as far as the timing for everyone, but I think especially for a young program, that's really tough to not have the full season of competition.
Yeah, of course. I mean, experience is always a great thing to have. I keep looking on the bright side that we were still able to get a good 12 matches or 12 days of competition in. So that helps definitely with our experience.
Yeah, so like you say, you were 12 matches into the season. How did you feel like things were going?
I honestly feel like, for one, our record didn't really reflect on how well things were going, because this was the first year we had the strongest schedule we've ever had to date. Majority of our schedule was against top 20 teams, and it was to really propel us and grow the program and get us that experience, that high caliber experience. So honestly, we were really tight with a lot of ranked teams and really gave us a lot of confidence. Great opportunity and experience with that. So where we were, I feel like we were about to turn a corner and really start playing even that much better. And I truly believe that our record would have ended in a winning season.
Today's broadcast sponsor is Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. We'd also like to thank the payroll company. Visit paydaysmadeeasy.com. So, Coach, you might explain for our viewers that may not be familiar with the format of an NCAA beach volleyball match. I think most people have seen it in the Olympics and on TV and various things, but I mean, it's a lot like tennis, really, isn't it? Where you have different flights and your two compete against a twosome for the other school.
Correct. Yeah. So it is a little different because we basically have our 5 pairs versus another team's 5 pairs, and best out of the 5 wins. So first to 3 pairs wins the whole thing. And that's different from what you might see in the Olympics or even the AVP on TV, because those are just single teams that are competing against other single teams. So it is really unique, and it is a different experience in college.
Well, you, of course, have quite a bit of background in this. You might tell, first of all, I know you played traditional indoor volleyball 2 years at Missouri State. You were a team captain, and so you had that experience to begin with in college.
Yeah, I'm born and raised in California, so beach volleyball is a pretty big thing. And we would play for fun and also make it competitive, but there is a lot of opportunity on the beaches. So playing locally is a common thing, and it really helped my indoor game as well. So I was still able to play beach and indoor, but there wasn't college beach volleyball when I was in college. So unfortunately, I didn't get to have that experience of playing collegiately. But post-college, I did play a ton of local stops in California and played some on the AVP tour.
So you might talk a little bit about that culture. And I mean, the name of the sport is beach volleyball, so that's where it obviously originated, and it is played on sand. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure even though the sport has gotten a lot more popular worldwide through TV exposure, the culture of it in California and maybe some other places where there are actual beaches, it's probably a little bit farther ahead of what it is in the Midwest, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. But the goal is to really get opportunity throughout all states in the US because it is such a popular sport and more people are catching on to it. I mean, there's a big reason why it's the fastest growing sport in NCAA history. Hey, Daddy. My dog is trying to protect us right now.
Yeah, mine probably come in here eventually too.
Yeah. So yeah, I really think that there's going to be a lot more opportunity throughout all the United States, and college beach volleyball is a great step in that direction.
Well, I think the latest, and correct me if I'm wrong, and this may not be an exact number, but something like 69 schools playing NCAA Division I beach volleyball now, and then there are variety Division II, III, NAIA, junior college. So there are getting to be more and more playing the sport, was, as you mentioned, it really didn't exist at the intercollegiate level not that many years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And little bummed that the Olympics are postponed because I know that the Olympics gives it that much more exposure. But there are a lot of other schools that are looking to launch programs too in the near future. So I think you're going to see another big boom of the sport, and especially post-Olympics.
Yeah, so you mentioned about the Olympics, and I was going to ask you about that too. Obviously, a lot of what they call Olympic sports do get that bump of popularity when the Olympics occur. But for those that are participating or potentially would have been on the team, how do you imagine this impacts them? I mean, you train for something and now you push it back a year.
Oh, it's impacted everyone. Everyone is feeling it at this point, and it blindsided everyone. I mean, we're all just kind of waiting. It's kind of like this lull in everybody's career. But part of life is being adaptable and being flexible and working with what you've got. And I mean, this is where we all are. So it's not like it's just happening to us. It's happening across the world. So I really think that everybody, for the most part, is staying positive, and we can only control what we can, and we'll pick right back up once this whole thing lifts.
Once again, today's broadcast is being brought to you by the Chevy dealers of the Ozarks, proud sponsors of the Missouri State Bears, and a thank you as well to University Plaza Hotel, where local and luxury meet. Visiting with beach volleyball coach Terri Del Conte, third year of the program. So Terri, we were talking about more and more schools participating. It does look like still the vast bulk of them are on the coasts, particularly in California and Florida, although there are some programs I see, Austin P and Eastern Kentucky, and there's some NAIA and Division II and III programs a little bit closer, some in Louisiana, Mississippi. So it had to get to a point that there were a critical mass of programs participating for Missouri State to start the sport. So I'm sure the hope is that it'll continue to spread and you'll have more people to play that are a little bit closer to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I've said before, it's looking very promising on more schools wanting to launch. But we do have some schools relatively close where there are a bus ride away. Like TCU is a common stop for us, and Dallas is pretty close in that sense. So I think we're gonna have more opportunities with time.
And you were going to have a tournament, which unfortunately we didn't get to before the season was canceled, but taking advantage of proximity, Central Arkansas, I guess, is another school that may be the closest Division I school to you. So I know the student athletes were looking forward to hosting that tournament.
I know. Yeah, we all were really looking forward to it. But hey, next year's another year, and we're going to, again, pick right back up.
So, and a lot of our viewers are aware of this. Back about 5 years ago, I guess, a variety of student-funded initiatives took place on campus. One was the football stadium, the new student bleachers, and locker rooms. Obviously, most visibly, the soccer and track stadium, the other field to the north of Hammond Student Center for field hockey and lacrosse, and then the beach volleyball. And so you've got that as the home of the program. And I guess the nature of the sport, Terry, is, I mean, are there any alternative venues, or is that really the only place that you have to practice? I mean, if you have bad weather, what do you do then?
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, we go inside and play on the indoor courts if there is bad weather. We're working on some alternatives for sure. But honestly, for the most part, I will say one of the most unique things about our sport that a lot of people don't know is that I think everybody has this misconception of like beach volleyball. It's like perfectly sunny and the weather is perfect and everything is, you're on a beach and sipping pina coladas, and that's just not the case at all. I mean, we play through all the conditions, rain, wind, sometimes snow. I mean, it's part of the sport, and every hosting site can make their own decision on how they want to handle it. So we play through all the conditions. I mean, we've already played through pouring rain. We played through freezing rain. We've played through minor snow. I mean, that's part of the sport. So really, we're outside most of the time, and luckily Springfield doesn't get a lot of snow, and it's been pretty kind to us for the most part over the last couple of years. But yeah, when it gets bad, we either have to cut practices really short, or we just go inside and work on our technical skills.
So Terry, when do you actually start physically training for the outdoor season? You go outdoors.
Well, we do have a fall off season, so we train all through the fall semester. And then our season in spring, we usually start the week before school starts, just to give us a little bit of time to get acclimated before, the girls introduce their studies.
So now during this shutdown, it affects training for different sports in a different way. And we had Coach Kane on from women's golf last week. And I mean, golf is an individual sport, and you go out and play on your own and hit golf balls and putt. What about a team sport like beach volleyball? First of all, I guess theoretically you need to have sand, but then you need to have a partner. So how's that working as you are in touch with your student athletes right now during the shutdown?
Yeah, I think majority of the girls are, just working on their conditioning individually. You can get individual touches, passing to yourself, setting to yourself, peppering with yourself against the wall. I mean, everybody's getting really creative right now. But I think the most part is, to take this time to just try to stay with it exercise-wise as much as possible, because with beach volleyball, you need to have cardiovascular endurance. And if there's some areas where actually some of the girls are able to still get out on the sand in a small group together, and that they've been doing some of that and still playing some and getting some touches. So that's been awesome for that group. But yeah, everybody is really just trying to just get as many touches as possible and get some cardio in the meantime.
A special thank you to today's broadcast sponsor, Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. We'd also like to thank Pinnacle Sign Group, the official signage provider of the Missouri State Bears. So Terry, with the NCAA allowing an extra year of eligibility for spring athletes whose seasons were cut short, how is that going to affect your program?
Well, we have our two seniors are planning to return. So that's really wonderful news for us. And majority of the players seem like they want to use that year of eligibility. And it gets a little tough because of, recruits in the future. But I'm still working all that stuff out to really make things happen for everybody across the board.
Yeah, it'll kind of be a collision of
Yeah.
seniors that are still around and incoming freshmen and transfers coming in.
Yes, absolutely. But, you can't fake college experience. And we have such a great group of young women. So if there's young women that want to stay, I want to make that happen for them because, we value them and their experiences and loyalty to the school. So if they want that year, then again, we make it happen.
How many players do you have on the squad typically?
It ranges. It really could be anywhere from 16 to upwards of over 20. We are looking around 19 to 20 next year.
And you play, is it 10 actually compete during a match?
Yeah, so technically 12 players, 6 teams compete. One team,
Okay.
the sixth team, is the exhibition match, and that
Okay.
is basically your alternates play. And if somebody gets hurt in the 1 through 5, you're able to sub them in still, so they still are very, very important role. But only the 1 through 5 that get seeded, they count towards the record.
So there are going to be a lot of tough questions and tough answers here coming out of this pandemic, and college athletics is certainly be part of that. Now, Missouri State, fortunately, has gone on record as saying that there are no plans to drop any sports. And I mean, your sport's just 3 years old, like we say, but are you concerned that the growth of the sport may be affected, and it may even go the other way if colleges all of a sudden are looking for ways to save money because they're going to have less money coming in?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think there's always a concern really with every sport right now in this situation. You know, there's a concern financially, but I feel pretty confident with our sport. It's not expensive to have our sport. We're probably the most inexpensive sport, so in that sense, it works in our favor in that way. But I mean, like I said, I feel, you know, there's a concern across the board with all sports right now. Everybody's taking a hit, and that's the unfortunate piece to all of it. But just like we have our team, athletics at MSU, we're a team in itself. So, you know, we're all going to try to look out for each other.
Terri, we talked earlier about your career as a student athlete playing in the volleyball program at Missouri State. Kind of expand a little bit more on how that experience was for you, and how that led obviously to a long time connection to the school.
Yeah, I mean, Missouri State and Springfield itself was a whole new experience for me. It was actually my very last visit, and it was a very last minute decision to even take my official visit to Missouri State. And I tell student athletes, when you just know where you want to go. Once you're ready to make that decision. So I made that decision. I didn't look back. I really enjoyed a new culture. I enjoyed being away from home and really growing up and maturing in that sense. I loved playing at the Division I level, the highest level. It was awesome. We had a great group, very competitive. Missouri State indoor program has had a long history of being very successful, so that was very exciting. And I made a lot of great connections along the way. And I got my degree.
Yeah, exactly. So that does bring up what's of course, brand new volleyball coach of the indoor sport, and barely got here, and then all this happens. But what's the interconnection between your program and the indoor program?
Yeah, indoor and beach volleyball really are two completely different sports in a sense, but the fundamentals with each other do help. So I do feel like there's a lot of love and support where our sports, you know, do have some kind of crossover. So I've met with Steven, and he's wonderful. I've met with all the indoor coaching staff right now, and they've been great and super supportive of our program, and vice versa. We want to see each other succeed, and if there's any athletes in the future that, you know, might want to play both, or if they graduate and they want to go over to indoor or to beach, we are very open to that, because we do know that the fundamental base of the sport can still really help with the crossover.
Today's broadcast sponsor is Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, and also Highland Dairy, the official milk provider of Missouri State University. So, Terri, I mean, this has obviously greatly affected all of our lives. How are you adapting and adjusting personally to this current social distancing situation?
Yeah, I will say for me, it's been a tremendous blessing. Even though the unfortunate circumstances, I'm able to be here with my father in California. And my dad actually got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer shortly before this all happened. So it allowed me to be here, and it's been honestly so wonderful. I mean, it's my brother is my older brother. He's also here. He's taking time off work, and we're all under the same roof, staying at Dad's house together. He's in his old room. I'm in my old room. So we never thought this would ever happen. I mean, that we're in our 30s and 40s and we're all under the same roof, staying with Dad again. It's like when we were younger, all being together. We've been loving it. I mean, we're with each other all day, every day, taking care of Dad and really embracing the time that we get to spend with him right now.
That's great. That is great. Well, today's fan question is courtesy of Great Southern Bank. Great Southern, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Vicky asked, how do you think the ladies would have finished the season had it not ended?
Yeah, I believe greatly in our team and how fast we were growing because we were such a young team. We had 13 new players. So the whole experience was brand new. And we were just getting into the biggest stop of the season, which is California. And I really feel like, again, that we would have had a winning record. We would have peaked at the right time. We would have been a team that others would have feared by the time we got to the conference tournament, of just kind of like this unknown because we were so young and newish to the whole experience of the program, that I really think we would have been a force to be reckoned with by that time. So a lot of teams I don't think would have wanted to play us by the end of the year.
Well, Terri, you stay safe. Best wishes to your dad and you and your brother. Sounds like that is a good situation for you all to be together. And we will get out the other end of this and hopefully have great success athletically at Missouri State and in your program. But thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you so much, and I believe that as well.
You bet. Well, this has been Inside the Cave, presented by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, proud sponsor of the Missouri State Bears. Be sure to tune in next time as Tom will visit with softball head coach Holly Hessen. Be well. Thanks for joining us on Inside the Cave.